Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Zhiyao Duan, and it's my great honor to come here and as a president-elect of Izmir Society to present about Izmir Society's basic information. Thank you very much, Vipul, for inviting me, and thank you everyone for joining this WiSSAP winter school. Music information retrieval is a very interdisciplinary area. It draws researchers from many disciplines, including computer science, signal processing, music cognition, psychoacoustics, information retrieval, library science, many subjects. And we come to this area with a common pursuit of processing music information. And we work on music information understanding, processing, generation, analysis, synthesis, many different topics. So I will give a more detailed overview of Izmir and MIR research tomorrow. But today I want to give you a brief introduction of what is Izmir and what's the society behind Izmir. So when people hear the name Izmir, the first thing they would think about would be the Izmir conferences. It's an annual conference happening since 2000. So by this year, there have been 24 conferences. And you can see that in the early years, from 2000 to 2008, it was mainly in the United States and Europe. But since 2009, it has been going to other parts of the world, in Japan in 2009. And since then, Izmir has went to Brazil, Taiwan, mainland China, and last year, it came to India, right? Thanks to Priti and Ajay and other organizers of Izmir 2022. It was a great event. And in 2021, due to the pandemic, it was fully online. And also since then, all the conferences have been hybrid. So we have both the online portion and the in-person component. So this is a map for Izmir presence in the past 24 years. And for next year, it will come to California. And the year after, in 2025, it will be South Korea. So it's great, that we have conferences in different places in the world every year. So the Izmir is short for International Society for Music Information Retrieval, but in the very beginning, it's actually called International Symposium on MIR. And people thought, oh, symposium doesn't sound like a formal conference. So after 2 years, people changed the name to International Conference on MIR. And since then, there has been a steering committee behind the annual conference organization. And in 2008, we came up with a nicer name. It's called International Society for MIR, and the conference will be called Izmir Conference. And now it's a formal conference and a society. So the society is registered in Canada as a nonprofit organization. And we have the members steadily increasing since then. At this moment, it's about 2,000 people in the society. And the society elects its board of directors every 2 years. I'm the president-elect of this board. And next year, since 2024, I will be the president of the society. So the objective of Izmir is to first foster the exchange of ideas in MIR, and we also try to stimulate research, development and improvement in teaching related to MIR. And we try to encourage publication and distribution of theoretical, empirical, and applied studies in MIR. And we also try to cooperate with representatives from other organizations and disciplines. And last but not the least, we're trying to support and encourage diversity, not only in the membership of the people, but also in disciplines in the research. So who are part of Izmir? Well, any people who have paid the membership fees will be part of Izmir, right? If you have been registering for Izmir in this year or past year, you are a member of Izmir. And as I said, we elect the board of directors. At this current board, there are 8 positions. There's the president-elect, the secretary, the treasurer, and 3 members at large, and 1 student member. And the names in bold are members who are about to leave the board. And our next board, we have 9 positions. In addition to those 8 positions in the past, we also created a new position, the tech lead. And I'm very happy that our Ajay will be our tech lead on this new board. Ajay has been a guest member in the past board. He has been doing a lot of work on the technical side and also communication with ISMIR conference annual organizers. So we're really happy that Ajay is on the board. Yeah. Thank you, Ajay. Congratulations, Ajay. So what do the ISMIR board do? Well, first of all, we need to secure annual conference. Usually we arrange this 2 years in advance. And secondly, we need to maintain the archive of publications, and we do the communications with the society. And the third one is to support and promote the MIR discipline. We try to strengthen the relationship with other communities, and we try to support diversity in membership and also disciplines. We also try to support and facilitate bottom-up community initiatives. For example, there has been Latin America MIR initiative, there has been Africa initiatives, and so on. And the strengthening relationship between MIR and the local conferences and workshops, for example, WiSSAP, is a very important task for the ISMIR board. And last but not least, we also try to adapt our own rules. For example, we create new positions on the board. We are discussing open review ideas for the ISMIR conference. And we have been implementing the code of conduct since 2018. And now we're working on the ISMIR code of ethics. So I want to also promote our journal under ISMIR. So ISMIR is not only a conference, but it has its own journal called Transactions of the ISMIR. And it accepts 5 types of articles: research article, overview, data set, and special collections, and finally tutorials. So I want to give a special recognition of the special collections. There has been 3 special collections in the past, and the latest collection is on cultural diversity in MIR. And I'm very fortunate to collaborate with Preeti as a guest editor of this special issue, special collection. Another activity in MIR that I want to promote is called Women as MIR, or WIMIR. It has many different activities, including the plenary session at annual ISMIR conferences, and also sponsorship and grants to support people, underrepresented groups to attend the conference. And there is annual workshop. People can discuss research and also career development regarding MIR. And also there's a WIMIR mentorship program, which I highly recommend everyone to participate. You don't have to be a woman to participate in this program, right? So you could be a mentee, you can also be a mentor. For mentees, if you feel that you are a relatively junior researcher in this field, you are a student, or you are part of an underrepresented group, you are eligible to apply. And for mentor, if you feel you are more senior, you have something to say or to give other members some help, then you can sign up as mentors. So yeah, it's not only for women. And WIMIR has been expanding its support from for women in the very beginning now to very diverse groups. So we are very happy to have WIMIR activities, mentoring activities. So last, I want to say thank you to the organization committee for WiSSAP 2023. It's really glad to see WiSSAP is focusing on AI for music this year. I know that this is a second time on music-related themes at WiSSAP. And I also wish everyone to have a great experience at this winter school. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Professor Preeti Rao to offer her valuable insight and expertise on the topic of MIR computational work in Indian music.
Yeah, good morning, everyone, and welcome to WiSSAP 2023. Yeah, we are really very grateful and appreciative of the fact that Professor Vipul Arora, sort of volunteered to conduct WiSSAP this year. And thanks to his very able team of students, and IIT Kanpur, we are here meeting probably for the first time after the pandemic for WiSSAP. So as you just heard from Professor Dwan, that music information retrieval as the subject area is quite interdisciplinary and very quite broad. And it's both of academic as well as great industry interest. And the community as a whole, as he just mentioned, has been very active, at least since the year 2000 when they started the conference. It was very US and Europe centric, but obviously they were all aware that yes, there are, and because of that, the kind of music that they worked on, after all, it is about, working on the scientific side of music or the technological side of music, in particular, information retrieval. So they were all quite aware that there is a lot of great music in other parts of the world. And very encouraging of anyone who showed an interest to work in other music, right? And so it was quite obvious if some work needs to be done in Indian music, people in the Indian community should be contributing. So some of us in the speech and audio, fields, took this on as a side activity, and then slowly it grew. And so what I'm going to talk about is just, on and off, of course, there have been a lot of contributions from institutes across India, but I'm just going to tell you about the more stable work, of groups that work consistently over a period of a few years and also got involved in Izmir itself. So in particular, the focus is on the computational work that happened in Indian music. So actually, it's much older than we think because, there was a scientific research academy in ITC SRA. So that's like a Gurukul your system that was, funded by ITC, a very remarkable place in Kolkata. And they had a small group doing so-called scientific research, which was actually, quite challenging because they were in the midst of, musicians and scholars of music, and then trying to, establish something that could be some kind of empirical analysis, of the archives that they had. But they did some really good work, and I must mention Professor Ashok Datta, who passed away very recently, who wrote a number of really nice monographs and papers on the topic, where they actually took, recordings and examined them, for example, for questions like, does Shruti exist, right? So that can be established scientifically, and that's what their work was about. There is still another conference called Frontier, that's an Indian conference called Frontiers of Research in Speech and Music, which has actually been quite active since the 1990s. And it's held in different places across India in various, mostly institutional, university settings. And it's a very interesting place. They always have one theme around music, and of course also in speech, Indian languages, and so on. There was this really large project at NCPA, so that's the National Center for Performing Arts, in Mumbai, funded by the Tatas. And apparently it was the dream of Jamshedji Tata that Indian music should be notated. So he knew that we have this very rich, sophisticated tradition. And, like the music of the West, maybe, it can be preserved better and maybe, studied also better if there was notation. So they had this really nice project called Music in Motion. You should really check out their website, where they have a number of recordings which they have, actually analyzed for the, pitch track. And, simultaneously with the sound, you can actually see, some of the nuances and very sophisticated constructs, of Indian music as rendered vocally by some very great musicians. Okay, so coming to, where we came into the picture, we had WiSSAP in 2010. And WiSSAP has been a very successful model, although Vipul gave me some credit. Actually, it's entirely the brainchild of Professor T.V. Srinivas. And I think year after year, whenever, people are little, slackening, he's always come to telling everyone that let's choose a theme and let's plan the next WiSSAP. So it's been a very successful, series. And when we had it in Bangalore, for example, we had close to 120 or so participants. This after starting in the year 2000, we actually, or 2003, was it the first? Or 2006. We choose different themes every year, and most of the themes in the beginning were around speech. For example, we had one on speech coding, one on speech synthesis, speech enhancement, and so on. We decided to do a music-based, WiSSAP. So this one was WiSSAP 2010 at Mumbai, and we had speakers. Here you see we had, of course, we don't have any winter in Mumbai, so we had the snowman to make people, think that there was one. So we had Javier Serra, Malcolm Slaney, and Javier Serra is someone who has been very active in, Izmir, and has a very large group working on many aspects of music. So that was his first visit to India, and that's where we really started thinking about how do we make Indian music a prominent part of, MIR problems and, work in MIR. So subsequently, he went back and wrote a large project to the European Research Council, which gave a very generous funding for a project called ComMusic, which was about working in non-Western genres, because Western genres were already heavily represented and had a very good, community out there, working in those areas. So he started ComMusic, and we became a part of it, because ComMusic essentially incorporated, a set of genres such as, you can see here, Carnatic, Hindustani, Makam, Chinese music, Jingju, and Andalusian music. So we became partners, and IIT Bombay and IIT Madras started contributing to this project. And it's been quite successful because a number of students were supported, and some activities started happening. We started having workshops also in India, generally raise the level of awareness and interest. So that essentially, definitely made a visible difference. We also started participating in Izmir conferences. More recently, we had in 2019 a SPARK project. That was a Government of India funded project, where we specifically looked at computational musicology and also some studies of Indian musical instruments. And then, of course, an outcome of that workshop was this monograph we brought out, which was a set of chapters from people who contributed to the workshop. So this is available on Google Play and also on some of our websites. So, do take a look at it. So there are people from mechanical engineering, as well as, musicologists and musicians who have contributed to this volume. And at the same time, actually, our scope really expanded, because we had these very good and productive groups at IIT Kanpur, led by Professor Vipul Arora, who came to IIT Kanpur in 2017, and IIT Hyderabad around the same time by Professor Vinu Aluri. And she works in cognition perception. So that really expanded the scope. I think we have, a quite nice, a wide range of activities in India now. So much so that we were very confident about holding or hosting Izmir. So that's what we did in the year 2022. Last December, we held Izmir in Bangalore. It was the first Izmir, event, in-person event after the pandemic. But even so, we had 200 participants with over 100 or so from overseas. And it was a really good, typical Izmir conference with a lot of Indian flavor and, some showcasing also of, work in India. And of course, now we have WiSSAP, taking that forward. So it is very nice that we've been continuously having this activity. So, to all of you, some of you who may be new to this, kind of be aware that, we'd like to, hold more such activities, and, your encouragement is really strongly solicited. And Izmir itself, like was mentioned, is a very welcoming kind of a group. Like, even for the conferences, they give out huge grants. And, Vimir, when mentoring session actually tries and onboards people who are interested in getting into the field, and, giving them opportunities to interact with, some of the more senior members. And of course, now in this WiSSAP, please interact, because one of the hallmarks of WiSSAPs have been that it, by the end of the first day, everybody, gets to know each other. So I would, urge people to come and sit in front, ask questions. because, this is not like watching a YouTube lecture. This is more about interacting with the speakers who are here, also during the breaks and during the sessions. So yeah, wish you all the best, and I hope you have a productive ISMIT. We're really sorry that Professor George Zanetakis had to cancel, because of a family event at the last minute. So we miss him. But what we did is we tried to fill into the program with some of us, giving talks on, topics related to, what he was going to be talking about. Okay, thank you very much.